This man quit his job, spent all his savings, and bought a house. However, on the very first day he moved in, a big surprise hit him. The place wasn't just a house, it was an abandoned zoo. What's more, there was a condition attached to buying the property. Whoever buys it has to take care of all the animals. Honestly, anyone would have refused. This man is named Benjamin, and he immediately declined. But just as he regretted his decision, his daughter went missing. Panicked, he feared that she might have been eaten by the animals. When he found her, he saw that she was feeding peacocks, and the smile on her face showed that she was truly happy. It was the first time in a long while she had smiled so genuinely. At that moment, Benjamin began to change his mind. If this zoo could give the children a joyful childhood, it would be worth a try. About 6 months ago, Benjamin's wife passed away. Since then, neither his daughter nor his son Dylan had smiled. The family decided to change their environment and leave the sad place behind, which is why they decided to move. So Benjamin gathered the few remaining employees of the zoo. The only reason they stayed was their deep love for the animals. The zoo's head caretaker, Kelly, gave Benjamin a tour and shared the zoo's difficulties with him. One of the tigers had grown old, and Kelly felt heartbroken, thinking that euthanizing it might be the kindest option. But Benjamin didn't know much about the zoo and thought it just needed more money. This disappointed Kelly. Kelly told him that they needed someone who could truly take responsibility for the zoo, or both the animals and themselves would be finished. When she asked Benjamin why he bought the place, he simply smiled and asked, "Why not?" No one knew what Benjamin was truly thinking, but it was clear that he had made up his mind. Benjamin grabbed a smooth wooden stick, preparing to repair the zoo's fence. He thought the porcupine was gentle, and even joked with it, but the porcupine suddenly raised its quills and chased him. He quickly ran out of the fence and fell to the ground. One employee teased him. Meanwhile, Dylan was slacking off, hiding in the attic and drawing. Lily walked in, praised his drawing, and sat closer to him. At Dylan's age, he had never even held a girl's hand, so he was frozen in shock. To ease the awkwardness, Lily said she would bring him a sandwich every day. Her sunny, cheerful personality was like a ray of light shining into Dylan's dull world, quietly opening his closed heart. That night, Benjamin asked Dylan to turn off the lights in the garage. Dylan saw a box inside, and out of curiosity, opened it, only to find it filled with snakes. He ran away in panic but forgot to lock the box. The next morning, the yard was covered in snakes. Benjamin scolded Dylan, but Dylan exploded, and they had a huge argument, making their relationship even worse. Just as they finished handling the snakes, officials from the zoo's regulatory board showed up for an inspection, and they were completely unprepared. Unsurprisingly, due to new regulations, the inspector listed 12 compliance issues. Fixing them would require a large sum of money, but Benjamin had already spent all his savings. He was furious and needed to vent, so he kicked over a bucket, but immediately stood it back up. Kelly understood that he wasn't planning to give up. A new problem arose. A large black bear had wandered onto the road. Benjamin calmly told his son to get his phone. As if word got out, the zoo's reconstruction plan would be doomed. He grabbed a shotgun and went to find the bear. The bear was lying in the sun, relaxed. As Benjamin approached with the gun, the bear didn't attack him. Instead, it walked over, slapped the shotgun out of his hands, and roared. Its saliva smelled like old German sauerkraut. Just then, someone shot the bear with a tranquilizer, and it slowly fell asleep. Fortunately, no one was hurt. But when the vet's bill came, it maxed out Benjamin's last credit card. That night, Benjamin wore a sweatshirt his late wife had bought him and unexpectedly found a bank certificate. Not knowing what it was, he went to ask his brother, who worked at the bank. It turned out that his wife had saved $84,000. She had anticipated that Benjamin might one day take a big risk, so she saved this money in case he ran into difficulties and needed the courage to keep going. But his brother said, "If you're wise, this zoo is a burden. Take this money, move with the kids, and start over." Before he could make a decision, the financial officer gathered everyone together and said, "Benjamin is bankrupt. We can't continue repairing the zoo. The employees were stunned. They thought Benjamin had a plan. "Benjamin is a fraud," someone shouted. Lily found Dylan and asked if they were leaving, but Dylan didn't understand what she meant and didn't notice the sadness on her face. She sadly turned away. When Benjamin entered the office, all the employees were waiting for him, disappointed. But he said, "The money issue is solved. If you're willing to follow me, I will give it my all. But I need every one of you to give it your all too. We are reopening this zoo." Everyone cheered, and they worked faster and more united than ever. But soon, Benjamin and Kelly got into an argument because the old tiger was just too old. Kelly couldn't bear to see it suffer and insisted on euthanizing it. Benjamin disagreed. "We can give it medicine and let it live a little longer." Kelly said it was cruel to let it live like this, but Benjamin didn't agree with her. The two could never reach an agreement. Later that night, Benjamin took Kelly's hand and opened up. Since his wife passed away, he couldn't bear to lose anything again. Even when he argued with Dylan, he could see his wife's shadow in Dylan's eyes. Kelly finally understood what was in Benjamin's heart. When Benjamin got home, Dylan was waiting at the door. Dylan had misunderstood what Benjamin had said earlier, and they argued again. But the next morning, Benjamin stood outside the tiger's cage, watching the tiger's painful cries, and knew it was time to let it go. Just then, Dylan walked over, sat beside his dad, and said, "I get it now. You've been doing your best." It was the first time they had a heart-to-heart talk. Dylan admitted he liked Lily, but didn't have the courage to say it. Benjamin smiled and said, "Take 20 seconds of irrational courage. Tell her how you feel, and you'll be surprised." To make Dylan feel special, Benjamin used his drawings to create a new logo for the zoo. "I'm your biggest fan, buddy. You don't even know it yet." Even his brother, who had firmly opposed him at first, came to help. He drove a truck and brought codfish for the animals as a treat. Everyone worked hard, and finally, the regulatory board came for another inspection. This time, no issues were found with the equipment or facilities. They passed the inspection successfully, and the zoo was allowed to reopen. But soon, more bad news came. A massive storm was approaching. That night, as Dylan passed by Lily's house, he saw a sign hanging on the door that said, "If you love me, tell me." Benjamin's words about 20 seconds of courage suddenly popped into his head. Soaked to the bone, he ran to Lily's door and said, "Hi, I really like you. I really, really like you." Lily smiled. "I love the rain. I love your hair. I love your sign." She smiled. She liked Dylan too. The rain finally stopped and the sun came out. Today was the grand opening of the zoo. Everyone put on their uniforms and prepared for the ribbon-cutting ceremony. But awkwardly, when the time came, no visitors had shown up. Dylan noticed the problem and ran to check. He found that a big tree had fallen, blocking the only road to the zoo. But after they moved the tree, they realized many visitors had been blocked behind it.
"Welcome, come on, we're open."
With children's laughter and animal sounds filling the air. Visitors who had been to the zoo before told Benjamin, "Thank you! You've brought such a wonderful thing for the children." Finally, Benjamin took the kids to the place where he first met his wife and told them the story. "I took 20 seconds of irrational courage and walked over to ask her,
Why would an amazing woman like you even talk to someone like me?"
That's how I met your mother." This zoo wasn't just a job or a house. It was their new home, and it all started with their courage to try